I'm Madeline. I'm a singer-songwriter based in Christchurch at the moment, but that's about to change.
Stone cold.
I think my sound is a bit of a weird marriage between like pop, jazz, and then a little bit of R&B flavor, just in the way that I phrase things and maybe like keys. Kind of like if Amy Winehouse and Lana Del Rey had a baby. The inspiration for the stylistic change between my She Loves You times and my solo times, I don't actually think that there was an inspiration for the shift. I think that the shift just came when I went solo. I think this has always been my sound and it kind of just existed within me, if that makes sense. It's kind of a combination. I think Jessie actually from She Loves You, my best friend, put it really well. She just kind of said that when she first heard my stuff that it really is a combination of everything that I love and kind of what I've done in the past, like with going to jazz school and all that kind of stuff. I think it just, it always existed. I just didn't have the vessel in which to make it come alive until I made that step to go solo. I think in the past, I get really, especially if it's a job, I kind of immerse myself entirely in that, and especially if that's where your income's coming from and then that funds your creativity, of course you're going to get lost in that and dedicate time to that, and then you lose the creativity. So that is something that I'm really trying to work on from this point on, especially with changing countries and going overseas to pursue music a lot more intensely. I'm wanting to find something when the time comes that allows me to still have that. So I'm not 100% caught up in the 9 to 5 of things, and I know that's really hard. I guess otherwise just doing things that make me feel grounded, like going to the gym, or just taking an hour out of every day just to sit down and actually journal, and that really helps me kind of stay creative even if I have a 9 to 5 and have to do that. The community among artists in New Zealand music industry I think is one of the best things, especially in Christchurch. I actually have been really pleasantly surprised, like having come from the rock scene up here to moving home to Christchurch and doing the solo thing. There's so many amazing women in particular in Christchurch that are just doing some crazy cool stuff. That's been really cool, and there's no gatekeeping and everybody's really supportive and they just want to show up for everybody, and I love doing that, so I think that's been really nice. And it is the same up here as well. I think it's been really, really great. Like a lot of my best friends were in bands that we played with or toured with, or people that came to gigs and stuff, and I think that camaraderie is really nice. At the same time, with artists and bands, there's not a lot of gatekeeping, but within industry, there's so much gatekeeping. Kind of have to really know the right person to kind of get anywhere. I think that's the same for anywhere though, but because we're such a small country and have such a small industry, I think unless you're making an impact either overseas or within your genre here, it's quite hard to push the envelope and try and get heard, because it's such a small circle of people that can put you in contact with the right people, if that kind of makes sense. And tall poppy syndrome, that can die. That's the worst. Keeping up with the ever-changing industry, I think the secret to that is finding the platform that works for you and trying not to look at what other people are doing in order to connect with your audience. So for me, my main form of communicating with my audience is Instagram. I think a lot of other artists I've had this conversation with as well. Like I love an album and I love an EP, and right now the music industry is all about the streaming platforms that love a single, because you can obviously promote that one at a time and just works better with all of that stuff. I've been really struggling to kind of evolve and change my plans and my views around that. I think adjusting release plans and adjusting all of that to fit is something you just have to do. It's all about figuring out the best way to get your stuff out and to get your message out to people. I think this particular creative journey has defined me so much. Like this last year has been really challenging. I think I really underestimated what going solo would involve. When you're in a band, you have other people around you that are kind of going through the same stuff, and releasing music is so vulnerable and scary because you're putting a piece of your soul out there and you don't have control of how well it does or whether people like it or not, or it's just completely outside of your control. But when you're in a band, you have other people that are feeling that with you, or someone that can post that thing on Instagram or send that email to a content creator or whatever. When it's just you, it's so overwhelming, and there's distribution things you've got to sign and just tiny little nitty-gritty things. but also there's nothing to hide behind. Like with She Loves You, I love She Loves You, and I want to play in that band again so badly, and we will one day. But the beauty of it was that I could hide behind everything. The music was so loud. So everything I wrote, even if it was personal, no one could really hear what I was saying, and I hate being vulnerable. So I've had to be vulnerable for this because it's just me, and it's just really deep, innermost feelings and experiences, and I've had to get better at being vulnerable, and I think I'm slowly getting there. And I think that is part of being a solo artist for sure, or an artist in general, a creative in general. You have to be vulnerable to create good art and not be afraid of that. And so I'm getting there and just trying to do that authentically, learning every day.